have those pools of money available and can connect people to them. And where there are city resources or federal resources that flow through the CEDO office, we need to make sure that they're allocated in a way that create opportunities. Because the next phase of Burlington's evolution is going to be the creation of opportunity for people back in the downtown. And I think if you want to bend the curve on generational poverty in the old North End, you'll make sure that there's a decent middle-class job that people can walk to. And that's the real hope I have for the coming years.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're relatively new to the public here. I mean, you're leading a private life, so certainly we don't know a lot about you. What have you done? What are some of your likes?
Well, let's see. Geez, I've been back in Burlington for about 6 years now. I grew up in central Vermont. My father's family's all from Burlington. I've got a ton of cousins, aunts, uncles, and my brother and his wife just moved back to the area as well. And I've got 3 little nieces down in they're down in South Duxbury. I spend a lot of time out in the woods. I'm a backcountry skier, a hiker, and a biker. So in that way, I think I match a lot of the community that's out there. I serve as chair of the board of Mobius Mentors. I mean, I've been mentoring.
That's how we first met you.
That's right. Mm-hmm. We came in here and we had that excellent concert with the 2 guys from the Sweet.
Oh, yeah, right. We brought those guys in. That was cool.
Yes.
Weren't they fantastic?
Oh, they were.
Rich Price, a local guy who's working down at Love Tomorrow Today, which is a spin-off from Select Design. Graduate of Middlebury, just a fantastic artist put on that show. But Mobius Mentoring, I've been mentoring since the year before I went to law school. I got involved in mentoring when I was living out west, and I just think it's one of those simple ways you can make your community better by committing to a youth, an at-risk youth, and trying to give them a sense of possibility going forward. So I got involved with Mobius about 4 years ago, and I'm now chairing the board and have been for about 18 months. Like I said, I'm an attorney by training. I went to the University of Virginia for both college and law school. And then I actually had a job with a big firm in Boston after, but I came back and I clerked for Justice Jim Morse down on the Supreme Court in Montpelier. And within 2 months of being back in Vermont, I realized the only thing I liked about Boston was that it was 3 hours to here.
You got sick of the traffic jams real fast, huh?
And the one-way streets.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, there was just not a chance I was leaving Vermont once I came back. And, so I took a job with Downs Racklin Martin in downtown Burlington. I was there for a few years and went to GBIC, which is a nonprofit economic development group based in Burlington that does regional economic development and outreach for Chittenden County.
With your background in mentoring, how do you tie that into turning the city around? And in some ways, it's about breaking the chain. I think you understand that. When you see a lot of families that continue to stay on the welfare roll and they continue to, the kids don't finish high school or they don't go on to higher education. Sometimes it's because they don't have a mother role or a father role within their family. How do you change that? How would you take that, your mentoring strengths, and help being the mayor of the city of Burlington?
Well, I mean, I frankly, in my priorities on my website, I've listed as a mayor's mentoring initiative, which would be a method of recruiting new mentors. So more and more youth that are out there that are at risk have the opportunity to have a positive adult role model in their life. But we have some excellent models in the city of Burlington, guys like Bobby Miller, who have committed to North End schools and really taking care of students in those schools. It's about making sure that every opportunity we have to interact between an adult and a young person is a teaching moment, that we give them a sense of possibility, and we say that, okay, here in our community it's a place of hope and it's a place of opportunity. And I think that's something a mayor, by virtue of the pulpit he has, can really set the tone for. I mean, gives me great optimism for our community and where we can head in terms of taking care of those at-risk youth.
Is there any one issue that said that just kind of stuck out, and that was like, the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, when you said, that's it, I got to run for mayor?
I don't think it was any one issue, but honestly, my biggest feeling since I've moved back, having grown up in central Vermont, we talk about the lost generation. When we talk about young people who leave the state of Vermont and can't come back because there's a decent opportunity. Well, I'm one of those guys who came back. And the creation of opportunity for young Vermonters, for all Vermonters, is, I think, the single biggest challenge we have out there. And I want to see those opportunities in our downtowns. I want to see them in places that people can live, so they can walk to work, they can walk their kids to a decent school, and they can feel safe at night on their streets. And those are not super lofty aspirations, but I think there's something that requires some vision to execute on. And I think I have that vision and I have that energy.
Not that age should be an issue in any race. I know John McCain certainly didn't want it to be an issue when he was running for president, but and I'm not exactly sure. I haven't done my homework, but you may in fact be the youngest person to run for mayor, and if you're elected, the youngest mayor in the city of Burlington.
Actually, I haven't done that research myself. I'm not sure.
He's only 21, folks.
20.
But he looks a lot older.
That's why I couldn't bring you any boom.
Dick
nice.
carded him.
Yeah.
He didn't have his ID.
just to clarify for people.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I'm actually 33.
And he's a young-looking 33.
Young 33.
Well, since when is that a bad thing?
No,
It's
not at all. No.
It's a good thing, but as far as I can recall, and I've been here for 43 years, he is the youngest.
He would be the youngest, right?
Yeah.
Would he not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
So is that a strength?
I frankly think it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the city's anxious for an administration that matches the energy and the vitality that's out there. And I think whether it's because of youth or just because of how I live and the kind of person I am, I think I bring that level of energy to an administration. And I'm frankly excited to do it. I wake up in the morning fired up, and I go to bed fired up. So,
What would your legacy be? What are your thoughts of what would you leave?
more better jobs downtown,
Yeah.
more families in our community, rebuild schools, rebuild streets, and a sense of common cause. I think that's the thing you can bring as an independent candidate. If you're pulling good ideas from every tent, and you're pulling supporters from every tent, and you're bringing people together and looking at city government in a new way, I think you can reinvigorate and rebuild this sense of common cause in the community enterprise that's out there. So that, from the most ardent progressive to the most committed conservative, everybody sees our community as a place of hope and a place of opportunity, and that's ultimately the legacy, I think.
Yeah. Well, all of the candidates have announced. At this point, there are three others. Of course, the incumbent running, Andy Bontroll, as a Democrat, and Kurt Wright as a Republican. Living in Burlington, and I'm sure you have association with all of the candidates. Are you close with any of them? Does it feel a little funny, a little weird, running against some of these guys?
It's a small community.
Yeah.
I mean, you have relationships with I have relationships with all three of those candidates, and I have the utmost respect for their service and their careers. I think they've all brought things to city council and the state legislature in two cases. I just think the city's ready for a fresh start. Every community's got to hit refresh once in a while, and there's a deep-seated appetite for change, and I think I bring a very different alternative, and a kind of an alternative that the city hasn't seen for some time.
Now, have you got your organization all together now? Because I'm going to ask you about knocking on doors. That's one thing we always hear about. They go through the neighborhoods and knock on the doors and introduce yourself. And, of course, you're the newcomer the new kid on the block, so to speak, at this time. Or have you started that yet?
We haven't started knocking on doors, and we probably will in the coming weeks. I mean, viscerally, I have this. I'm not sure I want to be on people's doorsteps in the middle of the holidays.
Oh, you should. They invite you in for a drink. What the hell?
Right.
But,
What's your address? No, we have our organization up and running, and I've got a great team around me. My campaign manager, Emily Smith, Jenna Karbogovic is a Bosnian graduate of UVM and BHS, and sorry, there's a blink in the earphone. And then Jesse Bragg is working with us as well, doing our field work. So I've got a great team. People are excited to be a part of it, and we're having volunteers come out of the woodwork. The response has been truly invigorating.
Well, good luck to you, Dan. And again, want to invite you and the other candidates to an on-air live debate right here on WVMT. Hope that you'll accept that, and we'll work out the details coming up.
Hey. Sounds good to me.
All right. In the meantime, if people want to check out more about you, the website?
The website is dansmithformayor.com. Check it out, and you can contact us through the site. So, we're having a ball.
All right. Good stuff. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all.
Thanks for stopping
Take
by
care.
this morning. Dan Smith, independent candidate for mayor, joining us in studio this morning. We're going to break. We got some headlines coming up. When we come back, you can ham it up with Charlie, Ernie, and Lisa.